Ms. Denise Phua.
Deputy Speaker, sir, I stand in support of the budget announced by Finance Minister Heng and his team. I'd like to speak on what makes for good, better, and the best types of budgets. First, on what constitutes good budgets. Let me take reference from some readings from the International Monetary Fund, or IMF. The IMF bloc in April 2017 attempted to define several key principles underlying good fiscal policies and smart fiscal policies. They said that in the world of dramatic economic disruptions and globalization, smart and good fiscal policies facilitate change, harness a country's growth potential, and protect people who are hurt by the disruptions. There's a call by IMF for more room to install more growth-friendly, inclusive, strong, and prudent fiscal policies around the world. National budgets are the key means by which fiscal measures such as spendings and taxations are implemented. So by world standard, Singapore's budget 2018 is growth-friendly, relevant, futuristic, and prudent. Budget 2018 continues with the aim of building a vibrant and innovative economy through a slew of more than 20 initiatives to anchor Singapore as a global Asia enterprise node. It continues with its aggressive plan to train more Singaporeans in a world of technological and business disruptions. Budget 2018 also passes the test of promoting inclusion. It not only supports employers who give wage increases to Singaporeans, it provides greater financial support to students from lower and middle income families through higher EduSave and financial and meals programs. It continues with the various rebate schemes for household expenditure, promises a permanent GST rebate scheme, and shares $700 million of last year's budget surplus with every citizen. But Budget 2018 is at the same time prudent. By putting a cap to ministry budgets, it encourages public servants to do more with less, respecting that money is hard-earned, whether at national or personal levels. In addition, by having the Agency for Integrated Care, or AIC, coordinate activities for seniors and strengthening the SSOs, the social service officers, to link up the many helping hands on the ground, Budget 2018 reduces overlaps and directs resources to where support is most needed on the ground. In a sense, Budget 2018, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is somewhat better than good. I believe that better national budgets are those which confront issues head-on and takes the courage to put in measures important, sometimes unpopular, to secure our future, going beyond the here and now. The team behind Budget 2018 took courage by announcing the 2% GST hike, creating what some analysts call a constant thorn in the side of the ruling government for the next several years to come. But at the same time, it promises Singaporeans that those in the lower and average income brackets will not have to bear the cost of this GST hike, because it has the permanent GST rebate feature it comes with. As a better than good budget, Budget 2018 incorporates too measures that aligns behaviors to the values that our society wishes to promote. The proximity housing grant, for instance, to encourage more family members to live with or near each other. The carbon tax, for instance, in support of the global and national movement to create a green and more livable city. The raising of the cap and matching grants to the 5 community development councils, or the CDCs, so that they can raise more funds to meet gaps in the local district and support more assist, bond, and connect initiatives. On the best budget. For Budget 2018 to be the best ever, I have several inputs for Minister to consider for incorporation, especially during implementation. Not all these inputs fall under the direct purview of the Finance Ministry, but I'm hoping Minister will help to facilitate some of these inputs. Most of them concern mindsets, because, as they say, the real battlefield is often in our minds. First, on the culture of innovation. As a member of the Council for Future Economy, I have personally witnessed the painstaking efforts by Council members and their subcommittees in developing industry transformation maps to anchor Singapore as an innovation, technology, and enterprise node. But maps are maps, and they need tangible support and resources to become realities. Budget 2018, with a slew of 17 measures in this space, is certainly moving in the right direction to support the making of a vibrant and innovative economy. However, sir, a vibrant and innovative economy is not developed from budget allocations and programs. It is not developed from only speaking up, and Member Louis Ng spoke about that earlier, although that's a good starting point. It requires a conducive setting of a culture of pervasive innovation, and we know that cultures are not built overnight. In fact, research says that a purposeful attempt at culture building takes at least 3 to 5 years. As in raising a child, fostering a culture of pervasive innovation takes a village. Fostering pervasive innovation requires more than plug-and-play solutions. It needs a whole society to create an environment that encourages and celebrates a sense of playing, tinkering, and experimenting, something that preschools like my first school and MOE kindergartens are starting to do. So I think Budget 2018 should actually allocate more resources to do a deep independence dive on what is stopping us from seeing more pervasive innovation in one, the private sector, especially amongst our SMEs, two, in education institutions from young to older ones, in families, and especially in the public service, which is watching over this space. In my years as an MP, I suspect the key hindrance to fostering more pervasive innovation in the public service is a 4-letter word: fear. Fear of criticism by the public, by online critics, by even members of this House from both the ruling party or otherwise. Fear of making mistakes, fear of failing, fear of being judged and punished, or even fear of making it to the Auditor General Office's annual name and shame list of agency and staff who are less than perfect. Another hindrance to fostering a culture of pervasive innovation is likely the lack of vision and limitations caused by existing processes and tools. There's a story of a man who went fishing. Each time he caught a big fish, he would throw it back into the water. And then if it's a smaller fish, he kept it. So an observer nearby found this incredulous and asked him why he did that. Why throw back the big fish and keep the small fish? And this man replied, "Sir, you don't understand. The dish in my kitchen for the fish is only 7 inches long. And if the fish is any bigger, then it would not fit into my dish." And so that's why he threw it back. Sir, such is the mentality of people who lack imagination and limit themselves and other people in the pursuit of innovation. The question then remains, how can we achieve a better balance between being fearless and visionary and having to be accountable and answer for one's actions, especially failing and failure? But if we do not settle this issue and find that balance, then we will continue to say that we want innovation in our society, in our country, but unknowingly through our mindsets, our actions, and our systems and processes, reward those who play safe and not try anything new, nor rock the boat. So I therefore seek Ministers' views on how we can allocate some resources to analyze the root causes of why a culture of innovation is not pervasive in the various segments of the Singapore society. And that may lead us to having more results and outcomes in trying to build a culture of innovation and ensuring innovative outcomes in all of our different aspects of the budget. Second, on asset expenditure. A 2017 report by the Center of Creative Leadership says that newer business models are presenting threats to traditional models. And the traditional models are the ones that are centered around assets, for example, a hotel property, services, example, a recruitment company or online retail mall, or technology products such as an ERP system. This report states that in a rapidly sharing economy, a network orchestra model that provides platforms to bring partners together for transactions and collaborations is almost now a new normal. Hence the rise of highly valued assets, which do not themselves own physical assets. Companies such as Uber, Airbnb, Expedia, and the like are on the rise. I therefore cannot help but notice that in Budget 2018, that several of the big-ticket infrastructure expenditure revolve around physical infrastructure, the high-speed rail, the airport, and the mega-Tuas port. Needless to say, to operate these physical assets would require the corresponding software infrastructure. But there still ought to be a sharper focus on creating non-physical assets and investments. DPM Taman at an IMF conference just a couple of days ago in Jakarta spoke about the huge opportunity offered by the vision of a single digital economy for ASEAN and the potential of fintech and other financial innovations. If Singapore aspires to be a smart city and nation, playing big not just in our own country but in the region or worldwide, what non-physical assets, especially in digitalization, are we investing in and creating? What are we doing to position ourselves as a leader in the provision and export of non-physical assets to serve not only ASEAN but the rest of the world? Are there any ways by which good solutions that we use internally in government, in public service, can be developed with export as a goal and monetized to add to the national coffer? I know, for instance, of good work done by MOE and GovTech in education, such as learning management systems, that I see has the potential to go beyond internal consumption, or even healthcare solutions for that matter. I therefore seek the views of Minister on how more balance can be granted to the development of or investment in non-physical infrastructure assets, and how good government capabilities and solutions can be developed for export as one of the sources for our national revenue. Thirdly, next, on building a future for the vulnerable. In executing our 5 CDCs charter to enhance awareness and adoption of skills future, I found that not enough Singaporeans actually believe or fully appreciate the speed of change and the risk we all are in a disruptive new economy. Jobs that have disappeared or will be disappearing, like work processors and typists, data entry operators, some travel agents, some insurance agents. They're jobs that we see today that never existed before. Digital market specialists, drone operators, content creators, data scientists, app developers, Uber drivers, driverless car engineers. Even if at a macro level, even if the economy looks good and unemployment rate looks good, low, Minister Lim Swee Say had famously said many times that the labor market is not short of jobs. It is short of citizens who possess the appropriate skills, the right skills to fill the jobs of the new economy. If ordinary Singaporeans are affected by all these massive changes, what more? Those who are not as mobile, not as adaptable, not as culturally sensitive to work in the global market or cognitively able, the vulnerable and the lowly skilled, not out of choice, but out of circumstances. What happens to them? How do we ensure that indeed, when the tide rises, all boats will rise? In the context of the Singapore economy, as opportunities abound due to technology, due to the rise of the ASEAN economy, how do we ensure that each Singaporean has a boat to ride the tide with? I therefore seek Minister to consider if a task force or a work group can be set up within the Council for Future Economy to specifically seek job opportunities for the vulnerable, the lowly skilled elderly, the disabled, and those who are not as endowed, those who are at risk, those who are vulnerable, so that they will not be left behind, so that they do not simply just become welfare recipients. Fourthly, sir, on bringing out the best in Singaporeans. I'm not certain how many Singaporeans, especially those in the middle and higher income brackets, are appreciative of Budget 2018's gift of the SG Ang Pao as a sharing of surplus from last financial year. But I'm almost certain that there will be no end of critics who say Ang Pao is too little or too much. A $100 SG bonus Ang Pao, Hong Pao for some could mean just an additional dinner out for the family or for himself. But to another citizen, the cash bonus the bonus adds to the cash flow to purchase that milk powder, those diapers for the family baby or disabled elderly parent. So let us bring out the best in Singaporeans. Just a small request. I seek Minister to give Singaporeans a choice to donate their SG Hong Pao, the bonus, to their favorite charities before the SG bonus is credited to citizens. So Budget 2018 should help move Singapore from success to significance and bring out the best in each of us. This is not a job for government alone. It's a job for all of us Singaporeans. It takes all of us as a country to imagine that we can become even better versions of ourselves. There's a story of a farmer who often wins awards for growing the best corn in his locale. So when a journalist asked him for his secret of success for growing this best corn, the farmer replied, to the journalist's surprise, that he shared the corns with his neighbors, the neighbor farmers. The journalist was surprised and asked, how can you, Mr. Farmer, afford to share your best seeds with your neighbors when they are your competitors? To this, the farmer explained, sir, you need to know this. The wind picks up pollen from ripening corns and blows them from field to field. If my neighbors grow inferior corn, the cross-pollination will affect the quality of my own corn. And herein lies the story of successful people and nations, why they should never just stick to success, worldly success, but move to significance. Like the farmer, if we wish to grow good corn, we must help our neighbors grow good corn. Life is all connected. If we want a peaceful life, we must help our neighbors be peaceful as well. If we want to do well, we must seek to help others do well too. It is not a zero-sum game. In the world of business, I saw many top busy local business leaders, some of them in the Council for Future Economy, some in the CDCs I work with, you know. They are business leaders, busy, but they gave unselfishly to causes beyond themselves. Leaders like Mr. Robert Yeo from who helped start YCH, who helped Robert Yap. Leaders like Mr. Robert Yap from YCH, who helped start the Logistics Academy for the logistics sector, and many of whom are his competitors. Leaders like Mr. Vincent Tan of Select Group, who's unselfish in encouraging the F&B sector to try out new technology and skills future initiatives. Leaders like Mr. Kang Pui Seng and his partner, who during their days starting Mr. Bean, trained and supported adults with disabilities to prepare and sell soya bean products. Leaders like Mr. Wee Chong, Ms. Wee Wei Ling, who use their business platforms in the banks and the hotels that they have to create jobs for the disabled. There are many more giants like them with whom I engage in my CDC and charity work. In North Carolina, in the United States, students in the school's technology center create prosthetic arms using 3D printing for others in need, and at the same time hone their advanced manufacturing skills. As the chair of ASEAN this year, for Singapore, beyond the regional digitization plan that DPM Taman spoke about in the IMF meeting this week, Singapore should look into setting up a fund to encourage Singaporeans to go serve others in ASEAN. Two young staff of mine in the CDC, Caleb Giam and Shalene Yap, a couple, they help villagers in Thailand and Cambodia start chicken farms as a livelihood. Each year they use their annual leave to do that. I see in this young Singaporean couple not only kindness, contentment, but also a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning. Budget 2018, sir, had put in 6 measures, no less, to foster a spirit of giving. My fellow mayors and I are thankful that Minister had paid some attention to the CDCs and increased the funding cap so the government will match grants for donations the CDCs are able to raise. It will come in useful for the emerging and existing needs that we identify in each of our districts. In Central Singapore CDC, where I serve, we started a series called Enough Talk, to encourage people to not just criticize, but take action on issues that they care about, such as low-skilled elderly, who might be doing very manual, difficult work at the hawker centers and toilets, you know, such as cardboard collectors, such as the homeless, such as the hungry, such as urging Singapore to support climate action by simply going plastic light, or finding ways to reduce styrofoam plates and boxes used at the many buffets and food distribution charity activities for the needy. Our Camp Explore program curates good enrichment classes, holiday programs. I think Member Sylvia and Xiao Yin have been talking about this.
Ms. Phua, you have 1 more minute.
To close the inequality gap, good enrichment classes for children from lower income families, so they too have equal access to opportunities and holiday enrichment opportunities like their peers from the more affluent families. So therefore, the CDCs and other members of the SG Cares movement encourage Singaporeans to join us to help our neighbors grow good crop. They say it is possible to give away and become wealthier. They say it's possible to give away and become wealthier, richer. It is also possible to hold on too tight to what we own and lose them all. So Singapore, do give in order to become wealthier. In conclusion, sir, I thank the Minister and his team for this better than good budget. I know the team had put in tremendous effort seeking views way before the budget was stitched and mulled over many options and even spent much time preparing communications content materials so that Singaporeans will comprehend and partake in the post-budget discussions. For that, please accept my deepest appreciation. I strongly support the budget, sir.